Welcome everybody to SWAMP STOL in Jennings, Louisiana. Here for the Husky National Stol Series. We're kicking off today's Friday competition in just a few moments. This is the semifinals where everyone's gonna lay it down on runway 17 here at Jennings, Louisiana Airport. Did I say that? Was that the right name of the airport? I don't even know where
Jennings.
I am.
You're in Jennings, Louisiana, right here in South Central Louisiana. And all right, hold on.
I fixed it.
Hey, switch it over to another mic.
That was this guy.
I guess I don't have to push the record button right now. Dumb question.
HDZ. Here, give me that mic. We'll throw that in. Get rid of that. Oh, it's coming from him? Tom, we think that might be coming from you.
How's that? Is that working again? Did we fix it? Round of applause for us fixing it. Yeah.
It's not an event unless you have a problem.
All right. So, where were we? We are Jennings, Louisiana, runway 17, getting ready for the SWAMP STOL semifinals of the Husky National Stol Series. If you were with us, anyone here with us in Florida at Sun and Fun for the demo? You were, Matt.
I was, absolutely.
That was epic. But there were no scores.
No, it was not a scoring event. It was only for demonstration. And we were just doing demos there in Sun and Fun. And none of those scores counted. Now, when we started Swamp Stol, that was a big reason why we brought in the Husky National Stol Series, is when these guys come in, they bring their graders, they lay the tape out, and these scores count towards the National Series. Now, as you know, the Husky National Series travels around the country. It's the only series right now that's doing that. Okay, I think our next stop will be up in Sodbusters in Minnesota.
Right after Oshkosh.
Exactly, right after Oshkosh. And so if you were competing in the National Stol Series and you wanted your scores to count towards, when they finally have the Nationals in Gainesville,
right,
you've got to come to a regional event like this one and get some scores, quote, in the books.
Do we even use books anymore?
No. Tom uses an Excel spreadsheet, and it's all very high-tech.
Thanks, Bill Gates.
Yeah.
So, should I walk through, just for folks at home, and... Oh. Got it. We may or may not be on.
Okay.
For folks in the crowd today, and for folks at home who maybe have not seen this before, I'm going to run through the rules real quick. If you've had a spot landing competition at your home airport, this is very similar to that, just turned up to 11. So what you're going to see is the pilots taxi out to the line. A line judge will get them right up on that line, make sure they're not giving up any inches at all. They'll get a very Top Gun-esque wave forward. They'll take off as short as possible. That means that they want to get the wheels off the ground as quickly as possible. It will be measured. We'll grab a foot distance. How far from the line did they take off? Those pilots will then do a traffic pattern around, come in, and make a landing. The landing is graded on how close to the line can you land after it, and how quickly can you stop. So if you land before the line, it's a scratch. It doesn't count. Imagine you're coming in Stol style on the side of a mountain, maybe like one of those crazy YouTubers. We got a couple crazy YouTubers in the competition today. And you land short on the mountain. It's not great if that happens. So that's what we're simulating here with the line. You want to land as close to as close as possible to the line without landing before it. And then separately, we measure that distance. We add those two distances together to get a composite score, and that is really as simple as possible. We're going to start the competition right now. Heavy touring class.
Right up first, we have Mr. Charlie Ross in his Helio H391 Bravo. Now, this is a plane we don't see at competition very much, Ryan.
No.
I believe this is the first time I've seen this one competing, but it is a Stol aircraft.
I mean, legendary Stol aircraft. Look at the giant flaps on that thing, or as my daughter likes to call them, flappy dappies. Helio Courier, absolutely legendary. Actually, some more modern aircraft have been named Courier in homage. You're going to see an experimental Courier later today.
Now he's running that Lycoming geared engine. He's running that 435, and he's got a really high gross weight on that airplane. This is a utility aircraft, and here he goes.
That's a lot of airplane to get moving. You see the tails already off the ground. Light on the wheels.
There he goes.
And we are measuring, folks, if you're seeing this for the first time. Oh, I love watching the way the gear kind of droops.
Yes.
We're measuring from the last main wheel to depart the ground. So you saw there he was into the crosswind a little bit. We've got a slight crosswind from the left today. He's leaning into that a little bit with his ailerons, and that left main departed a little bit later.
And here goes Bill Gilstrap. And he's up. Oh, but he took a little bounce. He took a little bounce. So they're going to score from the last place your mains touch the grass. So if he pulls back too early on that straight tail Cessna 182 and that tire comes down and touches the grass again, that's his last score. And here comes Warren Grobola from Miami, Florida.
Warren, incredible performance there from Warren.
Really good.
Such a cool guy.
Oh yeah.
Super cool guy, Warren.
Oh yeah.
He likes that neon green. You can't mistake that airplane anywhere.
And here comes Mr. Andrew Patry. He's lined up. His is a Cessna 182, the straight tail model.
And I want to put in perspective for folks watching and got the tail nice and low there. That was an incredible performance. These aircraft, this heavy touring class, this is Cessna 180s, Cessna 185s, 182s. Maybe you see a 210. You saw the Courier, which is base to final right now, high and to the right, folks. You can see the Helio Courier coming in. These are aircraft that have a gross weight over 3,600 pounds. So these are incredibly heavy aircraft. One of my favorite classes to watch because it's just as much about finesse as it is about power.
That's right. And not only can you make a short landing in this, you can haul all those people and all that gear. And if you're going out into the back country, that means you can carry all that camping gear and as many passengers as you need if you're going on a hunting trip or something like that. And that's what these planes are designed to do.
Put a moose in it.
Put a moose in it. There you go. Exactly. We don't have those down here.
No. Put a mosquito in it.
Put them.
I'm from the Northwoods of Wisconsin. I feel right at home here with all the mosquitoes down in Louisiana. Look at this. Behind the power curve, he's putting that throttle in.
He's dragging it in. Good.
Wheels, tires just locked up, sliding on the turf. Getting it stopped. We'll see what the measurement is there.
Got a good measurement. 195 feet, ladies and gentlemen. That is less than 200 feet on that landing.
Which is pretty crazy when you think about how heavy that aircraft is.
That is insane.
So that was Charlie Ross in the Helio Courier. He's got 28,000 hours of flight time, so he knows what he's doing. Low and to the right, short final.
Come on, Bill.
Got to get on that power.
Get that power, Bill. Get that power.
Oh! They're saying scratch.
He's giving him the big X.
Yeah, so when you see the X like that, that's a scratch. It means that they landed before the line, so better luck next time for 4-4 whiskey.
Jay's giving him the big X right there. We hate doing that. But Jay's been our line judge in Florida a couple of times. Very experienced line judge there. He has judged a lot of landings. Now here comes Warren Grobola.
Warren in the 180, the mighty 180 with those big fat tires.
Yeah. Outstanding. Now, you notice that Warren came in a little long. That's not that surprising. What he's doing is he's getting one, quote, in the books.
Right, on the Excel spreadsheet.
On the Excel spreadsheet. Now, remember your score doesn't count if you scratch. So he's going to come in there, and he's going to land just a little bit long on that first one. And this is a technique a lot of competitors use. On that very first one, you'll see him make a nice, quote-unquote, safe landing. They'll have 10 or 15 feet even beyond the white line. And then once they get that one in the books, they can take a little more risk. And they want to try and hit it like a foot, 2 feet from the line. And here comes Andrew Patrick. Got it in the books.
In the books. Look at those wheels, totally locked up. Main tires just static on the turf. That airplane, I think, at Sun and Fun was the heaviest aircraft in competition, and he was just totally performing with it. I think the Courier today is probably going to take that award for the heaviest. But, man, I got to say, too, just sitting here next to it.
Oh, yeah. It's a big
folks,
airplane.
It's just super great. Can we get a round of applause in the audience for our heavy touring class? Great performances. Give them a wave, give them a shout, folks. Give them a thumbs up. Let's talk a little bit about conditions today. So we're landing on runway 17, and no one's going to need the full distance for that today, but that's 1,977-foot-long runway by 150 feet wide. Now, we're using a lot less than that in width today for the competition because we need to be able to taxi like this. And no one is going to use all 1,977 feet today.
Well, I think we might have a Pilatus come in tomorrow. He might use a good bit of
Exhibition class.
Exhibition class is going to come in and pay us a visit. But I'm not counting even on him using all of it.
And painted on the side of that Courier, it said capable of flight as slow as 30 miles per hour.
That's exactly right.
Here we go. Charlie giving it the beans. Hole number 1.
Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh, he pulled a little bit too early. And you see the line judge having to run down there to get it. That's a long one. He won't be happy with that. But that's okay. He's got another chance after this one.
Won't be happy with the long one, but again, always good to just have it on the landing in the books because you never know what's going to happen to the other competitors.
You can win off of your competitor scratching. You can absolutely win. And here comes Bill Gilstrap in his straight tail 182.
182, basically just a beefed up 172.
Exactly right. There he goes. That's what he's looking to do.
Yeah, now you'll notice he's sinking as he milks the flaps off. He's planned for that, making sure to keep that nose down, get a little more airspeed. They've got plenty of runway. It's a classic short takeoff technique is to get up into ground effect, build up your speed, and then climb out. And we've got plenty of runway for that. Here comes Warren. Round 2 for Warren. Tail up high.
Tail up really high. Now watch, he's about to slam it. Down it goes.
Warren really knows what he's doing with that.
Really
I talked to him at Sun and Fun, at the exhibition at Sun and Fun. I asked him what plane, if he could have any plane in his hangar, what would it be? He said the 180.
The 180. Well, you look at carrying capacity, you look at rough terrain capability. And here comes Andrew Petrie.
In the Bumblebee. I'm going to call it that.
Oh, now look, these guys are close.
Touched on this kind of touch, settled back in. We'll see what the judges say about that.
Butch is pointing at where he touched back down, and he's right. So you see, if you pull too early, you'll sink back down, and you're trying to get up, like you said, into that ground effect and ride that ground effect down there until you can get your airspeed back up. But if you pull too early, the plane will sink right back down onto the tarmac, right back down into the grass. The tire will touch again, and then that's where they score it.
Real quick, while you guys look, again, base to final, high and to the right, we've got the Courier coming in. I'm going to read a message from our sponsors. We'll see if I can race the airplane here. Of course, we are sponsored by Aviat Aircraft. Aviat Aircraft is where luxury aircraft and backcountry meet. You'll find the Aviat Husky right there. Many manufacturers claim to have a large mission profile, but only the Husky delivers. With semi-foul flaps, the Husky allows for shorter takeoffs and landings to get you in and out of the backcountry in the most efficient way possible. Look up Aviat Husky online. Faster, stronger, more. And Matt, we got some gusts coming in, a little bit stronger wind. Now the gusts are hard for the pilots, but maybe talk a little bit about as we watch this. That's that gust.
Watch out. The Gus got him.
Oh, Gus got him.
Gus got Charlie.
So talk to me, because you do STOL whoa.
That's right. I'm a competitor.
You're a competitor. Thank you for saving me there.
I'm a competitor.
You're a competitor. We're going to see you in the plane later. Talk to me what's going through your mind when you've got that gusty conditions as we're starting to see today.
So the trick is you're flying these airplanes right at the edge of stall. All right. And some people fly closer to the edge of stall than others. I leave a little bit of fat in there. But the really, really good pilots who've had training, let's say at a school like C.C. Pocock School out in Nevada, they come in and they are right at the edge of stall right before they land. If you have a gust of wind, and let's say the gusts are just varying by 5 or 6 knots, that 5 or 6 knots could be the difference between your aircraft flying and not flying. So when they start getting gusty like this and somebody brings it in close, all right, here comes Bill Gilstrap. He's a little bit high.
He's coming in high because he wants to get on the books.
There he is.
Kind of plopped it in, but the gear is made for that.
That's actually really good.
That was incredible, yeah.
That's very good.
And that's a thing to say, too, folks. Like, we're not concerned about passenger comfort today. It's about getting it down and stopped. Doesn't matter if it's a little bumpy. I was flying down commercially yesterday.
Oh, really?
It got a little bumpy, and some ladies started screaming.
They just couldn't believe it.
She's like, woo! And I was like, yeah, we're having fun. And she's like, no, I'm not. Here comes Warren. You see heat. Now he's got a lot more altitude this time.
Well, now that's not a terrible thing if he's coming in at a high angle of attack. See, he's got that nose up. Oh, close.
Oh,
let's see what Jay says.
Are conferring.
Look at his stop, though. Look at his stop. He was completely out of energy. He was completely out of energy. But did he? I didn't see. Did he?
I didn't see a scratch or not.
We don't know if he scratched or not. I can't tell from this angle. But
we went to the judges' booth. We'll find out.
okay, are they going to go instant replay on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's asking.
So, as you saw, when he's coming in at that high angle of attack, the higher your angle of attack, the less energy you have coming into the line. And so when we get into the light sports, when these Huskies and Cubs start coming in, they're going to be coming in at a really high angle of attack and then bleeding all that forward air speed off.
They called that one good. So that's a little goose on
Andrew.
the throttle for Andrew. He made it over the line. Now he's got a lot of extra energy.
Look at that. He's
Little
coming
sideways. Love it.
Looking good. Forward air speed
What,
off.
the other really cool thing about this class to me, Matt, is that little goose on the throttle for Andrew. He made it over the line. Now he's got a lot of extra energy
that.
have
Look at that,
flown
look at
in
that,
our
look at
training.
that.
Maybe not the Courier. That's a little special. It's
That's
a little
right.
special to have a Courier. But these are all generally the 180s, the 182s. These are airplanes that you could find at your home airport, do training in. Maybe it's your second airplane. A lot of people train in a 172, and then they move up to a 182, something like that. So you'll see that in the light touring class, which is where you're gonna play.
That's right.
Those are airplanes that literally I could fly my 172 down from Milwaukee.
Absolutely.
If I wanted to pay for the gas.
Absolutely.
And I could compete. Very accessible sport as far as aviation goes.
And for the Florida Classic, I flew my 172. I flew my 172 all the way up the North Gulf Coast. It was a beautiful flight on the Emerald Coast there, all the way down to Lakeland, Florida. Flew the airplane in, and then competed in it. And a lot of these planes, they all fly in to come here. Now, when you talk about Andrew Patrick, he came from Washington State.
That's a haul.
That's a haul in a one, but he was in a 182, so he was going a little faster.
Yeah, a little
He
faster.
had a little more
yep.
horsepower.
Right,
you know?
absolutely.
And that's why I'm talking about these airplanes, that these are like the Suburbans. You know, you can make a trip. Here he goes.
Just milking
Come on,
it up.
Charlie, get it up. There he goes.
So amazing to watch that aircraft. I feel like that's my new bucket list airplane after seeing it in person today.
You notice how the landing gear droops.
I love it.
He's got that droop in there, and then when you watch him, when he lands, it's got that travel to come out and absorb the shock of that landing.
So I'm gonna jump in on what you said there. That's where those non-comfortable air quotes landing. Air quotes, huh?
That's right.
Those landings come in because they can absorb. You want to get as much energy going down into the ground as opposed to forward to help you
That's
stop.
right. And so that's why when you saw Andrew Patrick come in and he slammed it, that's a really good thing. That makes those tires bite. That plane is out of energy when it lands. It is completely out of energy. And here comes Warren Grobola, Miami, Florida.
Warren is really, really bringing it today.
They're close. They're all very, very close.
Now let's try to visually watch and see where Andrew comes. Generally, actually pretty similar aircraft, just tricycle gear versus
That's right.
tail dragger configuration.
And there's a huge debate as to which one is better.
Pretty close.
Very close. Very
Pretty close.
The competition is very, very tight this time.
Now, what's really interesting to me is that we're getting takeoffs this short, even though winds are generally light today. Right now, the latest weather METAR was 190 heading for folks who have not experienced aviation weather jargon before. 190, so slight crosswind at 7 knots. These guys would take 20 knots on the nose if they could. They would love it. So the more wind, the better, because you can stop slower.
So it's time for me to go compete.
It's time for you to go. All right, good luck.
Wish me luck.
I'm going to say a lot of really mean things about you.
Do it.
So Matt's getting ready to cross when it's safe, but he's going to go mount up his light touring. I think he's got a 170. We'll look in the book here in a second. Meanwhile, here's that Courier just hovering in on short final. You do not see that every day. Massive flaps. bringing in the power. He's cutting it a little long, a little bit of a bounce. I'm wondering if he lands with the parking brake on. Cutting it a little long, a little bit of a bounce. I was just joking about how 7 knots is not that much wind, and then the wind blew all my papers away. Here comes Bill Gilstrap in the 182. That's powered by an 0470, 230 horsepower. And he's got some mods on. He's got some little micro VGs to help with airflow over the top of the wing. Oh, it's a scratch. You could see him. I heard a good "oh" from the crowd. If you didn't hear it at home, it was like, whoa. Yeah, he tried, but still good on short, but unfortunately a scratch. Warren Grobola are low and to your right in the 180. Some mods that he's done. He's got an MT prop. He's got the Sportsman Stol and the micro VGs on that as well. These certificated aircraft, you can't do too much to them unless there's some approval paperwork that's been completed. So it's a little bit later today. You're going to see some kind of no holds barred stuff. Really well done with Warren there. That feels like more than 7 knots to me. And then last, but certainly not least, Andrew Patry in the 182 Bravo model. He also has VGs. VGs are vortex generators. They're little basically clips, is I guess the best way to describe it. Little V-shaped clips that go on the leading edge of the wing to help the air stay connected to the wing longer. Little bit of brake fade as he slides to the right there. And they'll get him the wing to help the air. Let's talk about another one of our sponsors, AirTech Coatings. AirTech Coatings, since 1981, has been revolutionizing aircraft paint utilizing polyurethane technology. Say that 3 times fast. AirTech Coatings offered the aircraft owner the advantages of inherent toughness and flexibility, as well as fire resistance, chemical resistance, and that great polyurethane wet look in an infinite choice of colors. AirTech Coatings will make your paint fly. You can also talk today about American Legend Aircraft. They're building the most innovative and advanced Cubs today. If there's any notion in your mind that flying these airplanes is a sensation, both beautiful and profound, you owe it to yourself to try one on. There's only one true original. Realize your dreams. American Legend Aircraft.
Hey, I'm Chad, and I am Legend. So once I decided I wanted to buy a bush plane, a Super Cub, before I began my research, I had never even heard of Legend Aircraft. I had heard of a couple different manufacturers, and that's really what I started with when I started researching. Was only through doing different Google searches and getting on the forums and hearing about this Legend brand that I began to really research them. And what I know today is Legend Aircraft is the best kept secret in aviation. It doesn't appear to me that they spend their money on a lot of marketing and advertising. They spend that money on research and development and into building a great product. Another factor for me, aside from the build quality differences, the willingness to customize, the customer service, their willingness to sit down and almost do a kind of a ground up one-off creation. On top of that was the other manufacturer that I was looking at. If I were to spec out this plane as close as they could get, I was getting less value, a less rugged, less sturdy, not as well built airplane, and an airplane that ultimately at the end of the day was not exactly what I wanted. That plane spec'd out at about $100,000 more than the Legend Aircraft version. And what I ended up with here with the AmeriCub was exactly what I wanted out of a bush plane and out of a Super Cub. And Legend Aircraft was willing to build that for me.
Yeah, I got that right turn. We're good.
Let's meet up at the compound group up.
At 10-4. Yeah, for sure, dog. Good, little driver, straight on through.
National STOL Series here at SWAMP STOL, Jennings, Louisiana. I am wonderfully situated just off of runway 17. Beautiful turf runway. We're getting ready now for the light touring class. Talk a little bit about what that is. So light touring class is literally the most accessible class probably in the STOL series, National STOL. You're going to see aircraft that if you're a pilot, you've trained in. If you've gone to the local airport, you're going to see airplanes that you are flying overhead a lot. These are Cessna 150s, 152s, maybe a 170, 172. You might see a Maul or a Stinson 108. Actually, we're going to see an airplane you don't think of a lot for STOL capabilities right off the gate there with that Piper Cherokee that's getting ready to go. That's 8040 Whiskey is the tail number on that. Okay, we've got some scores for last round, the heavy touring class. Warren Grobola, 271. Gilstrap, 391. Andrew Patry had 397 feet for his combined score. And Charlie Ross in that beautiful Helio Courier, much bigger than the other ones, 471. Oh, I'm sorry, 472. I gave an extra point, an extra foot there. So, Warren in the lead in the heavy touring class. But all in all, a pretty impressive showing. So back to the light touring class here. We're getting ready to go with this Piper Cherokee 180. That's Jeff Abrams in the pilot seat. That's 180 horsepower. Piper Cherokee, low wing. You're not going to see a lot of low wings today. It's very exciting to see. These are aircraft with a gross weight between 2,500 pounds and 3,600 pounds. So still pretty heavy. A lot of these are, all of them, I believe, are going to be four-seat aircraft. This is what you could take your family to eat those $100 hamburgers in. Here goes Jeff. Getting that speed, dumping the flaps. Back on that tie-down ring. touch in the grass, which is exactly what you need to do. And off he goes into the wild blue yonder. Really good takeoff there for 300 Bravo. That's Kenneth Munger in the Cessna 1957 Cessna 172 that just departed. 145 horsepower. Make sure to give them a wave, folks. Maybe give them a little bit of a cheer. They can see you. They might even be able to hear you. Yeah, there we go. Time for one more time around the pattern. Now you're going to see a lot more aggressiveness now in this third round because now we've got 2 rounds in. Everyone's corrected for their mistakes. I believe everyone is on the board. I gotta say that Cherokee looks a lot more beautiful than the one that I learned to fly in when I was doing my private pilot training. Mine was a lot browner and was missing a lot of paint. Remember, as we watch this, again, just to recap the rules, the goal is to land as close to the line as possible without landing before it, and then to stop as short as possible. We combine that measurement, that score, with your score here at the takeoff from the line. So they're watching to see when the main wheels leave the ground. So right there, basically, the judges are going to look for that exact point in the grass and measure that from there's a measuring tape laid out that you can't see probably from the crowd or on camera there, but they're literally going and getting exact measurements. Here's Jeff getting that tail up right away, cutting the grass a little bit almost, and he's off and running. Nice bank angle on that Cherokee to your right coming in to land. Carrying a little bit more speed, probably for the gust factor. It's good. What I love about this class is these are aircraft that, I mean, other than the 170, the tailwheel at 170, a lot of these aircraft are aircraft that you don't think of doing short takeoff and landing performance, right? And these are airplanes that any of us could own. They're very affordable on the used market, except for right now, for some reason, all the aircraft prices are super inflated. But these are airplanes that some of them could be the same cost as my neighbor next door. They've got a Harley Davidson that costs as much as some of these planes. These are planes that are attainable, and they are very high performing despite being, quote, normal airplanes. You can get a lot of performance out of them. You can throw a whole family of 4 in there. Wife, kids. Go land on a mountaintop and have a sandwich. Kept it off really, really great there. And the other great thing about this class, and honestly the entire National STOL series, is that these skills that the pilots are using today are all skills that every pilot practices every time they fly. Now, you might not always do a short takeoff procedure. You might not always do a soft field takeoff or a short landing, heavy on the brakes. Let's watch Matt come in. Maybe one of the gentlest touchdowns of the competition. He greased that. He buttered that bread. Really buttered that bread. Jeff Pohl, high and to the right, coming in on final. So as I was saying, these are all skills that you can practice in your own aircraft at home. Since I've been participating in the Husky National STOL Series as an announcer, have been beating up the pattern at my local airport, really trying to get inspiration from these pilots to improve myself and land shorter and more precisely. These are things that you want to be able to do as a pilot to keep you safe, keep you proficient, and that's what's great about this competition in my eyes. Just over the line, heavy on the brakes. You see it's got that yoke full back to use the wind and the prop wash to help him keep the plane balanced. As we get ready for the Bush class, I believe, is next. I want to talk more about some more of our sponsors that make this competition possible. Let's talk about Ladd Gardner Aviation Insurance. If you're looking for aviation insurance, look no further than Ladd Gardner Aviation Insurance. With an extensive team of professional aviators, they will give you the attention you deserve, building a relationship with an agent that you can trust and has a work ethic second to none. Check out Ladd Gardner Aviation Insurance. Their aviation protected.
When it's time to recover and paint your fabric-covered aircraft, look no further than AirTech Coatings. Since 1982, our FAA-approved system provides you with a shiny, durable, easy-to-apply product. The AirTech system has fewer steps than any other product on the market today, saving you both time and money. While using cutting-edge technology, we offer a wide range of products. Whether it's for work, play, antique, or aerobatic, we have you covered. Remember, we make paint fly.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, I got that right turn. We're good.
Meet up at the compound group up.
At 10-4. Yeah, for sure, dog. Good, little driver. Straight on through.
Well, that was a whole lot of fun. Okay, so in these competitions, what everybody's trying to do is beat your own personal best. And at 471 feet for a total score, for me today, I just flew my personal best. That's the best I could do. That's about 200 feet taking off and 200 feet landing. And that's less than a football field, and so that's what I was looking to do. So that's a personal best for old Matt Peterson here. So he's pretty – it's a good day already. All right.
So congratulations on that, and you teased it a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the scores today in the light touring class. Jeff Pohl in the 170, 232, nothing to sneeze at.
Absolutely.
Kenneth Monger, 335. Also nothing to sneeze at, but nothing to sneeze at you, 471. I can't remember the last time I landed my 172 in less than 500 feet. And then Jeff Abrams in the Cherokee 180.
In a Cherokee 180. Jeff Abrams is just, I mean, he is. Everybody's been talking about him since he showed up in that Cherokee 180 because they wanted to see what he could score. 623 is respectable anywhere, but especially in a Cherokee 180.
Yeah, I mean,
This is
kind of crazy.
It's insane. This is a plane that can carry 4 full-grown people and their luggage at 125 knots for 500 miles, no problem. You could take this plane all the way to Disney World from Baton Rouge if you wanted to. And
Are you inviting me?
well, I'm partners with a guy in a Cherokee 180 right now.
Okay.
It's just about to come out the shop. And that's why I'm really excited to see Jeff do well in this Cherokee because if he's landing and taking off with a combined score of 623 feet, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
one of the things that I was talking about while you were in the air, and I'm a little jealous because I haven't had any flight time yet. Being down here, I'm a little jealous. But one of the things we were talking about as you were in the air was that one of the great things about the light touring class is that these are all really attainable airplanes, and they're normal airplanes.
Yeah.
And so if you can land a airplane like a 180, take off and land an airplane like a Cherokee 180 in 623 feet, that basically, that combined score, just to put in perspective, you can land at basically any airport in the country.
Any airport in the country. That's exactly right. And then if you want to, and it's the dual purpose of these machines, it's so amazing. And you can also load it up with all your friends and fly to Jack Edwards and go eat at Lulu's. If
You might land a little bit longer if you load up all your friends.
Well, you'll land a little longer, but not much. I mean, think about it. If his combined score is 623, that means a 1,000-foot strip without obstruction. That's attainable.
Yeah, for sure.
That's attainable.
Of course, there's going to be some people on the internet right now saying, like, well, don't forget about density, altitude, and don't forget about mountains. Absolutely. That's all stuff you need to take into consideration. But in general, proper practice makes something.
That's right. And most importantly, training. Get with your CFI, learn slow flight, learn to do short takeoffs and landings. And there's a lot of good schools out there that are teaching bush and backcountry flying, which brings us back to a question. What's our density altitude today?
I will look that up for you. It is 2,138 feet. So it's hot.
It's hot. It's humid.
It's hot and humid.
Exactly.
Actually, let me run you through the rest of the weather. Winds currently, as of 14 minutes ago, 190 at 9 knots, so a little bit more wind.
Great.
I do think there's some gusting going on that the weather station's not picking up on. And then, of course, visibility 10 miles. It's beautiful. Beautiful day. And yeah, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 30 degrees C for the aviators in the crowd. So hot and humid today.
It's hot and humid, and this is actually a really good chance to demonstrate the real capabilities of this class of airplane that are coming up right now. These Huskies and Cubs are from flying in the mountains, and your altitude there, your actual altitude, you might be 4,000 or 5,000 feet above sea level. Now, right here, because it's so hot and humid, we're simulating 2,000 feet above sea level. So you're actually getting to see how these aircraft would perform in the mountains.
And I want to put that in perspective. We're only 23 feet above sea level at this airport.
That's right. Here we go.
Aviat Husky up first.
All right, let's get everybody lined up, see who we're looking at here.
So now these aircraft,
because this is Kevin Johnson in his Super Cub. It's a PA-18 Super Cub. So we're not into the light experimentals yet. He's got a 160 horsepower motor.
This is the quintessential bush plane right here, and you can see why. Dumping the flaps.
Oh, wow. That was great. Now you notice he took that rise up, and then he came back down into ground effect and gained his airspeed before he started his climb out. So he's getting the max performance out of that airplane. Now Kevin was at the Texas Stoll Roundup. Here.
Another Aviat Husky here at the Husky National Stoll.
There he goes. Now you can tell we're dealing with expert pilots here because they're not climbing immediately. They're slamming that tail down, getting off. They're going along, and here comes the Womack.
The mother of all Cubs.
Mother of all Cubs.
Mother of all Cubs. I like this airplane because
there he goes.
I think the gun racks, the gun cases on the wings add probably 5 horsepower.
The gun racks are definitely helping.
It's definitely could not at all be hurting.
He might might have something in those gun racks.
We
You
don't know. Maybe he
Snacks,
filled them with helium.
snacks, guns, helium.
He's got to fill
Helium's
it
a great idea. You know how Stockman has little pods for his luggage?
Right.
He ought to put helium in those pods. That would help him out a little bit. Look, there's free advice here, Hal. We're just giving it away.
I don't know if that's a.
They are really competing.
Austin's waiting. He's waiting for the right moment. There it is. We could feel the wind right as he departed there. He's watching for that stuff.
Nice.
He's settling back, but he's okay.
He's got it in ground effect. Now watch, he's going to start his climb out here. That's going to be pretty impressive. So if there you go. I can't do that with my 145 horsepower. I can't do that with 145 horsepower, and as much as I would.
I would do that. It just happens a little bit at a different deck angle.
That's right.
I've done that at a
That's
65 horsepower Cub. It's a little less impressive, but it's still pretty fun.
Still happens.
Folks, to the right,
Here
short
comes
final.
the Womack. I think you're right. I do think the gun rack helps. You can hear his stall horn from here.
Mm-hmm. And you could hear the tail wheel on the grass there. That does help. You get that little bit of physical drag before you're even down is really important.
There's an incredible picture. I believe Eric Johnson took it at the demo in Lakeland, and one of the Cubs is coming in, and it is dragging the tail wheel so hard that it's just kicking up dirt. Really impressive. But imagine you had to climb out of a valley.
I mean, I live in Wisconsin, so I have no idea what that would be like.
This is where it comes.
Imagine you have to climb out of some corn.
Well, you obviously you don't have any valleys here. Here he comes.
That was,
Very
again,
nice.
textbook.
They're landing so softly. They're landing, you know, this is the semifinals. It's not the finals. Now, tomorrow when it's all on the line, I think we're probably going to see some harder landings.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And also, let me pull up the forecast for tomorrow. We'll see if we have any different conditions here. Folks, low and to the right, here comes our friend in the Cub. I love the droop of that main gear. Just aesthetically very fun.
He has got a lot of travel in that main gear with big shock absorbers.
Landed a little long.
A little long. He's not going to like that, but he's getting on those double puck brakes, standing that tail up. Here comes Mr. Darren Hart, aeronautical engineer, American Legend Cub builder. And today, Stol competitor.
That was very poetic of you.
Nice. There. Now, imagine the amount of force it takes, ladies and gentlemen, to lock up that great big wheel. When he locks those wheels up, I mean, that is amazing. That's the force of those double puck brakes.
Here comes, I think, Austin, correct?
Yep, here comes Austin. We're going to get to see that Delta prop again.
Asked him about his first solo, and he said what a lot of pilots say, that the airplane turned super light when you're by yourself.
That's right. He didn't even use his Delta prop.
There at the end, maybe a little bit there.
I don't think he ever engaged
I don't think he did.
it.
Yeah, he didn't hear
I don't think he ever engaged that Delta prop. But look at where he's landing. He's still landing short.
No, I mean, that was only maybe 25, 50, somewhere
50
between
feet,
25
right.
and 50 feet further than with the reversible prop. So that's pretty impressive.
But when you're in competition, Ryan, that 25 to 30 feet,
That's a big difference.
Sometimes that can make the difference. Or if you're trying to land in the backcountry and you're headed for the wood line and you're about to crash into the wood line, the Delta prop will keep you out of the bushes.
Money well spent.
Money well spent, exactly.
You know, is this a Cub or is this? I'm looking at the wing on that. That looks a lot like a Cessna wing.
It looks an awful lot like a Cessna wing.
Which means that is not a Cub.
5 Whiskey Charlie. We've been calling it a Cub. Hold on.
No, we're going to get in trouble.
Oh, you better watch out. Okay, 5 Whiskey Charlie.
I think that's one of those
Here comes
super
the Mowack.
special guys. Mowack
Now
on
that's
the
a
roll.
Here he goes, and he's popping it. Looking good. 5 Whiskey Charlie. It's a Badlands Traveler.
So the way you can tell is the Badlands Traveler, they actually take a Cessna wing. So I think some have 152s and some have 172 wings.
Yep.
And they mate that with basically a Super Cub body. I mean, that's a gross simplification of it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a nice gust for him.
There we go. Take off now. Oh, man. Oh, boy. This is when you want the air boss to clear you. Now, you know who likes those Badland Travelers is Doug Jackson, the president of the Husky National Stole Series.
That's why I was so concerned that we got it right.
Okay. Okay. He'll figure it out. Or he'll run over him.
Got a little foreign object debris. Austin's glasses flew off. But Brian Wallstrom from the Experimental Aircraft Channel is Johnny on the spot.
Got
and
him.
I think they're his glasses
You're
now.
almost as cool as Austin now. And here we go. There's Mr. Darren Hart taking off in that Cub. I'm not even going to look for his tail number. I'm going to call him by name. Now here comes Austin Clemens in this Aviat Husky with a repaired tail wheel.
He was riding his one wheel around with the new tail wheel assembly.
Hey, there he goes. Did you and see? Now there's the gust. There was the gust, helped him out.
I think he was just mad that he dropped his glasses, so he had to yank back a little bit harder.
He's probably wondering where they are right now.
He saw him. I saw him poke his head out and go, all right.
All right, I'll pick him up later. So that part came in at 9 a.m. this morning, and they repaired the tail on that Aviat Husky just now, and he's off into competition.
Low and to your right.
Here he comes. He's going to pick that nose up. Ooh,
A little bit of a balloon there.
A little bit of a balloon.
That's kind of a bummer. And that, if you're not a pilot, if you haven't started training yet, that little bit of a balloon feels bad even when you're just trying to land.
Yes.
Just feels like it's just a timing thing. You get it a little off or something like that. Feels bad. Now, I mean, it's fine. Now you'll notice winds are picking up, and what you're going to see the competitors do, Matt, if you could talk about this a little bit, we're noticing people are transitioning now as they get more wind. They're feeling, I believe, and I'm wondering if you could validate this for me, they're coming in lower because they've got more wind off the nose. They can be a little riskier.
Oh, nope, didn't make it.
That was a scratch. That was so close to
there is a method to the madness. So whenever you're coming in at a high angle of attack, you don't have any fat. You don't have any excess energy to deal with for maneuvering. And as the gusts come and go, that gust might actually, as it dies and comes out from underneath your wing, you may just stop flying and plop down on the runway before you're ready. Whereas if you come and you drag it in low, and they call it dragging it in.
Yep.
If you drag it in low and then chop the throttle right before you get to the line, you have more control. And here comes that Badlands Traveler.
Man, we are in so much trouble for misidentifying that. The internet is going to go crazy.
Yeah, really? You think they're going to fuss at us?
Yeah, we're in trouble.
Well, you're the professional.
Wow. Just blame it on me. I realized it. I fixed it.
Okay. I'm impressed that you saw the shape of the wing and called it by the shape of the wing.
I said to myself,
really good.
Those wings look a lot like my wings. Wait a minute.
And you know who's going to fuss at me about this later is Doug Jackson.
Yeah.
That's one of his favorite airplanes. And Doug, he's a commercial pilot. And Doug has flown a lot of aircraft. But the Badlands Traveler is one of his favorites. Now here comes our big fat tire company. I do think he wins the award for the biggest tires. Ooh, he's high. He is coming in high, and there he goes. He's locking them up. All right, there he goes. So, yeah, you're going to see the two methods. You come in at the high angle of attack and burp it at the last minute, or you can drag it in just a few feet off the ground and then cut the throttle at the last minute, which is usually what people do for spot landings.
Sure.
Because you have more control that way.
I think it's important to mention that when you drag it in, you need to be sure of what's underneath you.
Exactly. Exactly. But you bring in more forward momentum.
Again, without the
delta. How about that? That's kind of interesting. I wonder if there's a story behind that.
So, and the reason I say you got to be sure what's underneath you is, as a responsible pilot, if you lose an engine and you're dragging it in, you've got a lot less time to put it down. And so you'll see here they're dragging it in, but they've got a safe landing assured when they're doing that.
That's correct. They're already over the grass. They're already over the actual runway, believe it or not. And if they were to lose power at this point, they just land. You know, and it's funny you should mention losing power. We flew out to DI's last night, which is only 8.7 miles as the crow flies, or the airplane flies from here, and we had a great time out there. The owner, Corey Frugier, brought in a great band, a great Cajun band. We had a real good dinner. But I told all the pilots, I said, make sure you have enough gas.
Yeah.
Because if you run out of gas on the way home, we're never going to let you live it down. I'm not worried about any of these pilots being able to put these planes down anywhere. They could land in any field or road or just about any place, or somebody's backyard if you're some of these folks. But I said, if you run out of gas on the way back from dinner, you are never going to hear the end of it. And apparently the threat worked, because everybody put enough gas in their plane to make it all the way to dinner and all the way back here.
We're going to take a quick break for some sponsor messages on the broadcast, and we'll be back with the next class after these messages. For the folks here in the crowd, I guess you got to just cheer some more to get us back into it.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, I got that right turn. We're good. Let's meet up at the compound group up. At 10-4.
Yeah, for sure, dog.
Good, little driver. Straight on through.
Nothing yet.
When it's time to recover and paint your fabric-covered aircraft, look no further than AirTech Coatings. Since 1982, our FAA-approved system provides you with a shiny, durable, easy-to-apply product. The AirTech system has fewer steps than any other product on the market today, saving you both time and money. While using cutting-edge technology, we offer a wide range of products. Whether it's for work, play, antique, or aerobatic, we have you covered. Remember, we make paint fly.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Husky National Stol Series Swamp Stol here in Jennings, Louisiana. We just finished up the experimental bush class of competition here at the semifinals, and I have some scores for you. First of all, though, I want to talk about Austin Clemens. Austin Clemens, of course, in the Aviat Husky that had the tailwheel problem yesterday in practice, repaired it, got it back. The judges decided to let him compete in the experimental bush class, even though he's technically just bush class. 200 and I think my writing says 224, but of note, 85-foot landing was the shortest. That's bonkers. That's absolutely bonkers. Now let's get to the experimental bush class scores. Brian Steck in the Womack, 192. Mike Lemons, 235. Luke Spohr, also in a Womack, 252. And Keith Geiger, 313. Those are some incredibly short scores, Matt. Have you?
Just incredible.
Totally
Just
crazy.
incredible, especially that 85-foot landing by Austin Clemens.
And
That's outstanding.
And we don't even know if that was with or without the beta prop. That could have been.
See, we're going to have to. There's a story there. We're going to have to go talk to him.
We'll have to ask him
I
tonight.
didn't hear it. I'm used to when I see Austin come in at the last few events that I've been to where Austin was. He'd come in and he would hit, and he would stand that tail up, and right about the time he'd get that tail up, that delta prop would kick in. And he only did that on one of his landings.
Right.
So
maybe that was the 85-footer.
We got to find out.
Up on the line, who's up next?
We got Jeremiah Stapleton of Bowie, Texas, coming up here in his Zenith. Now he's got a 100 horsepower Continental. There he goes.
Little bit of a hop, but that's
Little
okay.
bit of a
First
hop,
time
that's
out.
all right.
Maybe only added a foot or two.
Those Zeniths are very popular, Ryan. There's a lot of them out there.
You can build them at home. You rivet them together in your garage, and boom, Stoll competitor.
Now here comes a Cub.
It's very similar to the Super Cub. This is an experimental version. A lot done to it. You've got the slats. You've got the gates by the ailerons there. Off, very short.
And who do we have coming to the line right now but Mr. Mike Lewis? This is one of my pilots from my airport. Mr. Mike, a retired commercial pilot, hailing out of St. Francisville, Louisiana. Here he goes. Got that nose up. He's pulling back. There he goes. He needs to keep that tail up just a little while longer.
Next up, lawnmower. That's Hal Stockman, the most famous man not on the internet or something like that is what they say.
I don't think he's on the internet.
No, he's a flying cowboy.
In his lawnmower 3. And there he goes.
That's a Rans S7, I believe.
That's correct. And highly modified. And up, we have Steve Henry.
Plug your ears, maybe, for this one, folks.
This is going to get loud, everybody. And boom, there you go.
So that's basically just a helicopter.
Steve Henry, ladies and gentlemen.
Basically
Steve
just
Henry.
a helicopter
I
there
gotta
for
get
Steve
that up.
Henry.
Now, Steve and I were talking about this yesterday. Steve's rocking 300 horsepower out of a 5-valve per cylinder Yamaha snowmobile motor with a turbocharger on it. It is amazing. It's just an amazing motor. And he has mounted that onto a Highlander. The whole plane altogether is around 800 pounds. So Steve's going to make these really good takeoffs. But what I tell everybody is, don't watch the takeoff. Watch the landing. Let's watch how short Steve comes in.
The takeoff is impressive, though.
It is impressive. It is impressive. But so now when you start talking about these Highlanders and you talk about how tight they can get in and how tight they can get out, the landing counts too.
Absolutely.
So when he comes in, you're going to see Steve. He might drag it in, but he's very likely going to come in pretty high, depending on these gusts and how it feels to him.
Woo, close one there.
That was close, but it's good. He's in the books. Locked him up. Outstanding. Jeremiah locked that thing up, and he's got it stopped. He's got a score, and his score is in the books. By the way, you can watch Mike Lewis. I know Mike Lewis, and he is going to be safe, and he's going to get one in the books first.
He's going to get one in the books
Absolutely.
first.
That's what he's going to do.
And then go for all the beans.
Strategy. He's got that strategy.
My dad calls that using his kidneys.
Ah, yes.
You got to use your kidneys.
Use your kidneys. And, you know, with all the years of commercial experience that Mr. Mike has got, you know, he is probably going to look at this competition and say, well, I'm going to bring one in and get one in the books first.
And again, the other thing is we're just trying to get to the finals today, right? We're not.
That's right.
So we don't need to. We can be a little more conservative today.
Exactly.
Look at that. It's just hovering in.
Oh.
And we've got a scratch, unfortunately.
That's a scratch. Now, this is Mr. Joe from Arkansas, him and John Young on Arkansas. And we're going around. That's Mr. Mike Lewis choosing to go around. Each pilot is responsible for the safe operation of their own aircraft. So if Mr. Mike is coming in and he doesn't like the look of what he sees, If the other plane, if Joe hasn't cleared the runway, he's going to go around.
Right.
And
He's going to go around, keep it safe. You can always go around.
You can always go.
There's a song about that. Yeah. Wow. We're vibing today.
Oh yeah, man. There's a little
Vibing.
song. You can
Here
always
comes
go around.
Hal, and I think Steve Henry's going to choose to go around as well.
He might. Man,
Yeah,
look
Steve
how
Henry's peeling off.
Look how slow Hal is coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. He is floating that thing in.
Oh, Steve Henry's doing a 360. I just heard on the radio. Meanwhile, Hal, also in helicopter mode,
Floating it in. Just floating it in, ladies and gentlemen.
bonkers,
And that's why he's Hal Stockman.
bonkers.
And that's why he's Hal Stockman, ladies and gentlemen.
That's I'm gonna say it's just over 50 feet.
That's not much.
So that's what you were talking about before, right? Hal is kind of playing the game on the back end of the score.
Exactly.
He's-
And he could. Now, I've seen him get off the ground in less than that. And he probably wasn't happy with that takeoff. But I want you to notice what Hal did. As he came in, he turned to the right just a little bit to take advantage of the crosswind. So we've got a 9-knot straight up, but it's kind of quartering by a few degrees off to the right. These pilots are so experienced and so good that when they come in and they've got a little crosswind, they'll turn into the crosswind for their final landing. And that's perfectly legal. Nothing wrong with that.
Here comes Steve Henry.
Steve Henry, ladies and gentlemen, floating it in.
Lots of horsepower on tap to keep that. Woo!
Now,
Oh! That's less than 50.
less than 50 feet. And I want you to notice, he also turned a little bit to the right, but when he ran out of energy, he was out of energy. He was
Right.
done. That plane was done. And it stopped flying and just flopped on down there. And then I believe he's running a Super Aero suspension right now. And that suspension just flexed out, took all that energy, and that's all energy that would have been going straight forward. And that's how you get a low score.
Speaking of suspensions,
I'm suspended.
let's talk about Acme Aero.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Acme Aero, their focus is to provide products that make your aircraft safer, lighter, and perform better overall. If you're watching these aircraft today, Acme Aero does a fantastic job at it. Check them out online, Acme Aero. Lots of various products to modify your bush plane.
Did I call it a Super Aero suspension?
You did, because you're next to me, and
That's
my
not-
channel
it's
is
the-
Super Aero.
Your Super Aero is bleeding over.
I'm bleeding
onto
over,
me,
yeah.
Ryan.
No, it's okay.
you
They'll
know,
forgive you.
The Super Aero zone is just all
Yeah.
around me.
Okay, so now the lineup's been shifted around a little because we did have that go around.
Here comes Mike. Now, there you go. See? He's got it down. He's going to get it stopped. He is in the books.
And also, go-around's a thing that most pilots should practice, and I want to give him credit for having a really great landing after what
Absolutely.
you would, not an unusual maneuver, but maybe a non-standard, it's not, go-around's a thing you should practice, but it's not something that you do every day necessarily.
That's right.
So to stay focused is good on him for that, to come in and get a good landing in.
And in my group of pilots that I fly with in our parish, we all call him Mr. Mike.
Mr. Mike.
Yes. And with all of his years of commercial experience, there's a lot of times that we turn to Mike and we ask him, and he always gives us the safest answer. And this would be a good time to talk about something else that's going on here in Louisiana. We've got the Rockin' the Runway in Sunshine, Louisiana tomorrow. After we finish competition here, you can ride up the road and see the Shell Aerobatics team.
No kidding.
Absolutely. And not only that, this is a fundraiser for a school for special needs kids.
Well, it's definitely worth it.
$25 at the gate. And here we go with the Zenith, Jeremiah. There he goes. All right. And it is just a really fun thing. There's going to be food and vendors. I want you to notice, Ryan, we have food and vendors everywhere. Here comes Mr. Joe from Arkansas. I changed my entire takeoff technique based off of a 30-minute conversation with him.
No kidding.
Yes.
You want to give us your the secrets?
You know what? Let's watch Mr. Joe take off first. There he goes.
Just notice the aircraft named Pooh Bear.
That's right. I haven't asked him what that's all about yet, but I'm sure it's something. I'm sure there's a story behind it. You know what? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to ask Joe yourself.
Okay, that's fair.
He did the research and has the data. Now here comes Mr. Mike Lewis in a supercar. Pull it on back, Mike. There he goes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hal Stockman.
Lawnmower 3.
Lawnmower 3. He's doing quite well today.
Absolutely.
And he just put those leading edge slats on.
That's pretty short. Very interesting, these two competitors back to back, right? You've got a more standard horsepower aircraft doing incredibly short takeoffs, and another aircraft that is just like horsepower to the gills doing incredibly short takeoffs. So we'll see. It's fun to watch these two guys go right back. It's literally the opposite theory. Opposite theory.
Everybody. Now, Ryan, I want to show you. This entire line of spectators had their phones up to get a video of Steve Henry.
I don't blame him.
Taking off here in Jennings, Louisiana.
Do you what do you think the difference between those two takeoffs was? Very close.
Very close. Very close. And you know, it's funny because Steve and Hal are friends. You know, you're on the tour, you're on the Husky National Stole Series going around the country, and these guys are all friends. And so Hal and Steve talk all the time. And Hal just recently added the leading edge slats on the Lawnmower 3. And
I think they're working.
I can't help but wonder. You know, was he going head to head with Steve? And he says, "Hey, you know, I gotta get in here. I gotta step up my game." Is that what happened? I don't know.
So let's talk a little bit about our friend Jeremiah Stapleton coming in the Zenith here. I'm going to say only, but compared to some of the other competitors, they're only 425 hours. He's a relatively young pilot, or young in hours.
That's right.
He says the aircraft, the Zenith, is in stock configuration, leading edge slats, inverted airfoiled, horizontal stabe, all of that totally stock.
And you can buy this kit. You can buy this kit and build this aircraft.
A lot of energy coming in for him on that.
He came in nice and low. Did you see that?
Came in low but hot.
And you know, a lot of people don't know, but you can also buy a Highlander. You can buy the kit that Hal is flying. You can buy the kit that Steve Henry is flying today. You just go online and you look up Just Aircraft, and you can buy yourself a Highlander. Now, what motor you put in it, that's your business.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Don't you ask. That's your business. What the kids say, mind your business. Mind your business. Whatever motor you want to put in, it's whatever you want to do. I'd probably put a diesel in there. Now, you notice these pilots are making these big zigzags.
Right. So
and here comes Mr. Joe. He's got the full flaps down.
And a little bit of a slip. Yeah.
He's pulling a little
bit
of a slip.
There's nothing more fun than doing a slip in an airplane.
Yes, especially a Cub.
Yeah. A lot of S-turns behind him there, like you mentioned, Matt. And the reason is, again, things are literally slowing down in this class. So everyone's got to keep the spacing as much as possible. He looks high, but he's...
No, this is beautiful. Little gas.
Oh, a little bit of a nudge on the throttle would have done it for him.
I will say that, or if he had just not slipped a little more back there, and he knows that.
Now we'll see if he gets off in time to make room for our next competitor
here comes Mr. Mike Lewis in his Super Cub.
I think he's committed. Yeah, he's clear.
Yes, he's clear. And here comes Mike. Come on, Mike, a little more gas. Oh,
also with a scratch.
Mike with a scratch.
I feel that what happens when you have competitors that are scratching back to back, to me that signifies a change in conditions between the two rounds.
It might, and that's where a lot of these competitions, you know, somebody asked me once, they said, well, it's not fair because what if somebody comes in and a gust of wind keeps them from coming down? And I said, guys, you know,
that's what happens in real flying.
This is real life.
Life's not fair.
This is real life.
Buck up, Buttercup.
Yeah. I mean, so, you know, jousting is to prove you're met on the battlefield. This is to prove that you can get in and out in backcountry situations.
Hal Stockman, low and to your right.
Yes. And
he's got a nice bit
left. He's got a good line. He's a little bit to the left, and now he's going to turn it.
They say it's good. That was right on the line. So that's between 50 and 75 feet for Hal. So we'll see what Steve can do next. He is low and to your right, folks. Steve Henry, Wild West Aircraft.
He's bringing it in kind of low. You notice that. We're going to see it drag in. But he's loving this headwind, I guarantee it. They're loving the headwind, but they don't like the gusts. Of course, what you want is a gust on your takeoff.
I'll just dial that into my weather control machine.
There you go. Do that. Here it comes.
They say scratch.
Well, he scratched.
They're saying scratch. It did look like that.
But look, if he hadn't scratched, that would have been a 50-foot landing. What's that? I'm off. What do you say?
So I have this little info sheet here on Jeremiah, who just taxied by in the Zenith. He wrote some really nice things, and we surveyed everybody and said, like, what's going on with you pilot men and women? Did his first solo, 1947 Cessna 140. Says he remembers clearly taking off, looking at the empty right seat, and telling myself, well, I've got to land it now. And it went well, and he's been addicted ever since, he says. Grew up flying RC models and got into STOL flying with one of his buddies.
Now,
introduced him to a Super Cub.
Awesome. You know, I know a lot of pilots that got their starts in modeling.
Yeah.
A lot of pilots got their starts in modeling. So, at any rate, tomorrow when we finish here, Ryan, right up the road in Sunshine, Louisiana, you'll be able to go. Al Stockman, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be able to go see the Shell Aerobatic team. There's going to be a live band, music, food, gator on a stick.
Gator on a stick. You can't go
Always.
wrong. We don't have that in Wisconsin.
You don't have gator on a stick in Wisconsin?
No, we have cheese curds.
No, I've had some cheese curds. Listen, they're good when they squeak, right?
Yeah, well, you deep fry them, and it's like hot. It's like molten hot lava in your mouth.
That's just a good way to hurt yourself.
It's a good way to do it.
We do that with crawfish. The crawfish come out the hot, we pour them on the table, and then you got to wait for them to cool down a little bit.
While we wait for everybody to get ready here, I want to talk about a way you could learn to do this yourself with Tac Aero, another sponsor of the Husky National STOL Series. Tac Aero believes that the backcountry is the ultimate destination, and no vehicle provides more access to the wilderness than a tailwheel airplane. Tac Aero's goal is to train pilots beyond the FAA minimum so they are prepared to go on an adventure that is bush flying with a unique tailwheel training program. Come fly with Tac Aero. They're at Dallas, Oregon, or Fredericksburg, Texas. You can visit them at tacaero.com. So here's Jeremiah. We talk a lot about him in his Zenith.
Here he comes in his Zenith. He's lined up. Look, we've got a big guy coming in on 03. And here goes Jeremiah.
I think what I love about Hal's Lawnmower 3 is it's so purpose-built. There's no flash to it. It's just like, what do I need to do to be really good at this?
I want you to know, when I showed up in Texas, in Gainesville last year, Hal was the guy who gave me a ride to dinner. All right, here comes Mr. Joe with Pooh Bear. Okay, they're getting a good, steady headwind today.
Let me pull up the winds. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about how that might change your approach when you're competing? Are you doing anything necessarily differently as the winds get higher?
Well, all you've got to think about is that the airplane doesn't care about ground speed. And here comes Mr. Mike Lewis, St. Francisville, Louisiana. Oh, they're good. By the way, you realize the reason that they're all stacking up is that they're coming up and they're turning for their downwind really early, and so they're stacking up. They're stacking up on the downwind because these guys, they don't need the whole pattern. You don't need the whole strip. Here comes Mr. Hal Stockman. That's 49 feet.
So right now, Meechar still says 220 at 8. It feels like more than 8.
It feels a lot more than 8. Okay, that's actually about 60 or 65. Steve Henry, ladies and gentlemen. Oh! What do you think?
I'm going to guess right around 25. From this angle.
I'm going to say not much.
A small number.
A very small number. Absolutely outstanding performance by Steve Henry in his Highlander. That was amazing. So yeah, we've got a whole lot lined up in Louisiana this weekend, Ryan, with the Rockin' the Runway. This is going on. Just last weekend, we had the Blue Angels down at Chenault.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, everybody enjoyed that. They did the Low Show.
New Super Hornets.
That's right. They had the new Super
Brand
Hornets. New. And I knew that this was a serious thing when we went to Sun and Fun, and I looked over, and some of the military pilots had come over to watch.
Oh, sure.
I knew that this was a serious thing. So here comes Jeremiah, floating it in, floating it in, floating it in. He says good. He says good. He was tickling the top of the grass there at the last minute. He was tickling the tops of the grass.
Yeah, you can cheer. That was worth it. You can
that
cheer.
That was good. That was a good one, ladies and gentlemen. That
Excellent.
was great.
You know, you mentioned the Blue Angels and the military pilots watching this. This is not too unlike a carrier landing.
You know, I've talked to some Navy pilots, and of course, most of the pilots I know are Air Force because they have the most pilots. But the naval aviators, when they come in at that high angle of attack, and they're used to landing on carriers. Now, at this point, I guess I could land on a carrier.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I could land and take
for
off.
Sure, you could.
I mean, if a carrier goes, you know, how many knots, I could just like hover over it and just set her down. I think they're that fast.
The man in my ear said that they reviewed the footage again on that last landing, and it was, in fact, good.
Nice. And here's Mr. Joe. Tail wheel first. That's a good sign.
Now, he needed that because if I'm not mistaken, there were a couple of scratches.
Yes, he did.
So he needed that one to get on the board.
And not only was it good in the books, it was a good landing. That was outstanding. Look at him. All right, now who we got coming in here? Mr. Mike Lewis of St. Francisville, Louisiana, flying this Super Cub, made in Sulphur Springs, Texas, with a fresh paint job. You know that helps.
Oh, disappointing.
Oh, no, Mr. Mike Scratch.
Disappointing.
Mr. Mike Scratch. We hate to see that.
I liked to see that with you.
Now, how many times did I scratch? Just once, I think. Did I scratch twice?
No, I don't remember. I'm just messing with you.
Well, I'm telling you, I don't like scratching. It is never any fun. But you know, whenever you're trying to get down there and land within a foot of the line, you're in that last little bit. It is hard to get that last little bit of
yeah. Well, for me,
control.
I mean, as I've been practicing this at home, I'm still at the phase of this where it feels more like luck. And so
yeah.
I'm shifting from luck to maybe someday like Hal.
Watch Hal come in.
Oh, right on the line. It's good.
Yeah, but he didn't flop it. But that's still outstanding. Now, Hal won't be happy with that, but for anybody, that's a great landing. That is a great landing.
I want to be real. Like, I have a half an acre of property that I live on.
Okay.
Hal could land in my backyard.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
Absolutely, Hal could land it. Yeah, he could come down, you know. You know, it's funny. I'm an airport director. I have a chainsaw. In Louisiana, the trees grow so fast. Every now and again, you've got to go. It's like cutting the grass.
Yeah.
You've got to go drop trees all the time. Here comes Mr. Steve Henry. Oh, yes. Did you see it flop?
Yeah,
Did you see him run out of energy? And that's about a 55, 60-foot landing. I can't wait to hear that score.
I think one of the great things about Steve is you can usually tell how happy he was with the landing based on the sound of the engine.
Yeah.
Gives it a little extra goose. A little extra something on the throttle when he has a good one.
And you can't wipe that smile off his face. He is happy to see it. Now, that's what I was talking about when it comes to Steve Henry, okay? And the takeoffs are very impressive. But, man, when you're doing a 55, 60-foot landing consistently, that's incredible. That's incredible. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is pilotage. So
I got to talk about a sponsor, or I'm going to get in trouble. And I'm going to get in trouble from the folks at Rugged Radios. Rugged Radios National Stole is using Rugged Radios for all of our race and competition communication. Anytime you're looking for a radio that can endure a harsh environment, make sure to visit ruggedradios.com.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, I got that right turn. We're good.
All right.
Meet up at the compound group up.
At 10-4. Yeah, return, dog.
Good, little driver. Straight on through.
Welcome back, everybody, to Swamp Stol here at the National Stol, Husky National Stol Short Takeoff and Landing Competition. I'm Ryan Dabrowski. Next to me, Matthew Peterson, the leggy and vivacious. And we just wrapped up the light sport experimental class. Going to get scores for you on that soon. But right now, we're off in an exhibition class with a twin-engine air cam just soaring into the air. Such a cool plane. Add that to my airplane bucket list. And also, a really unique vintage aircraft here coming in, I think technically light sport class.
All right, so this is an all-original 1934 Aeronautica C-3. It's being flown by Mr. Jeff Womack, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll notice he's not wearing a headset. He doesn't have a radio. He ain't talking to anybody. He's just out there doing his thing. This airplane has all of 36 horsepower. 36 horsepower powering this aircraft. But he doesn't weigh much, so he ought to be able to get off the ground here pretty quick.
That is so cool.
Now, I want everybody to notice that Jeff was leaning out of the left side. He's leaning out the left side of that aircraft because when he's taxiing, he can't see a thing.
Absolutely. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, the nickname for that aircraft is like the Flying Bathtub.
Is it the Flying Bathtub? I guess.
There is a Flying Bathtub. It looks like a bat. I'm going to say yeah.
I thought it was an A-10 Warhog.
Yeah.
It was a flying
well, that's
bathtub.
a flying tank.
Flying tank? Okay, all right. All right. The titanium
The flying
bathtub.
gun.
We'll ask Jeff when he gets down.
Or someone on the internet can type to us maybe, and someone will know. High and to your right, the air cam coming in. Also a really unique aircraft developed for a motion picture shoot. That's why it's called the Air Cam. For National Geographic, they needed that twin-engine reliability, but also cockpit and fuselage that didn't interfere with placing a film camera to get good footage. I think, if I'm not, again, this could be, I should research this a little bit before I say it on air, but I believe it was something in the rainforest, low and slow over the rainforest. Sounds right?
Well, this isn't very much different from rainforest.
No.
You know, so Mr. Keith Wall's bringing that in. Now, this is a local boy from right here in Jennings, Louisiana. Everybody knows Keith Wall. He's rocking two 100 horsepower Rotax motors on there. We all just saw his 75-foot takeoff, which is very respectable. and a really nice landing. We had a little bounce there.
Little bounce, but
We
man,
had
such a
little
cool
bounce.
plane.
Such a neat aircraft. Such a neat aircraft. And here he is. He's going to taxi out of the way now. And here comes Jeff Womack. Now, Jeff is a commercial pilot. He is an airline captain, thousands of hours. And he is really, really talented when it comes to restoring antique
I mean, it's
aircraft.
beautiful. It's a beautiful airplane. It's definitely unique looking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
You got to remember your roots.
exactly. And this is an original 1934 out here flying exhibition. Now, I'm not surprised Jeff floated a little further. The top speed on that aircraft is 65 miles an hour. Top speed, like never exceeded.
Yeah, can't go any faster than that.
It's very, very light. And when he started catching that headwind, he's going to have to deal with that headwind and that gust coming in, and it's going to affect him more than it's going to affect almost everybody else.
The other thing I heard in my ears, he does not have brakes.
No,
No brakes.
no brakes at all.
Just use your tire pressure and your slow speed that we talked about to get stopped.
Exactly. And now he's getting out. So we may or may not get a second run out of Jeff Womack.
I think he's got to get it because he doesn't have differential braking. He's actually got to get out and turn it around that bend there.
That is awesome.
It is super cool. Also, what a flex just to get out with it running,
Look,
turn it the right way, and hop back in.
Look.
Air cam's coming up to the line right now.
All right. And here we have Mr. Keith Wall again. Jennings, Louisiana. 200 total horsepower. You know, we don't have a class for air cams. It is, I wouldn't be surprised these air cam owners didn't get together and say, okay, we're having a fly-in and we're going to do our own stall.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out who's the best air cam pilot.
Air cam's also really at home on amphibious floats.
Oh, yes, I saw more than a few at Sun and Fun.
We had a exhibition air cam on floats, if I'm not
On
mistaken,
floats.
back in December.
At Sun and Fun, yes.
Right.
That was at the Florida Classic, and there was a classic car show associated with it. And then here comes this guy on an air cam and floats, and there was a guy on a Husky with floats who made the finals. I mean, that's amazing. You can stop in 300 feet on your floats without tearing your floats up.
Well, and I want to mention that if you're wondering how you score that on the floats, it's the rear wheels on the floats
correct.
are the mains, so it's just no different than any other competitor.
That's right. You scored from the rear wheels, and it was really impressive. I forget the name of the pilot, and I wish I did because he deserves the credit. And here goes Keith.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow. He is getting off the ground in 75 feet with that air cam, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, it's a fairly large aircraft.
That
Fairly large
is
aircraft.
super impressive.
Yeah, I think I need one of those. I need a lot. I come home from
come on.
these events. My wife is always like, "Oh, like how was it?" I'm like, "Well, I have a few airplanes to buy.
I need this. I need
we need
that.
a bigger hangar, darling."
Well, I've got a 172 and a 180 Cherokee now, but I can stop anytime I want.
If I can stop it,
Here he comes, ladies and
Here we
gentlemen,
go.
Mr. Jeff Womack.
Love that color on that too.
Absolutely. He can paint. Oh, bringing that right wing up because he's catching a little crosswind. Outstanding. Listen to that motor. This is that low compression motor. That's
I
a
love that.
cylinder low
I love
compression
that.
motor. That is awesome. That is not the only antique plane the Womacks have. Their father was an airline pilot. Jeff is an airline pilot. His son is at school right now to be an airline pilot. And I would not want anybody else behind the stick if I were going to fly commercial. These guys, they're outstanding pilots, super safe, thousands of hours. His son had over 1,000 hours by the time he turned 16 and a half.
That's a lot.
You know, and you know, they have these awesome Taylorcraft and these awesome antique airplanes, and obviously flying an antique airplane, I'm kind of partial to antique airplanes.
Sure, yeah, me
know,
too. No,
but-
there's something about vintage aircraft.
Yes, that's right, and mine is vintage, 1957. So, but I got to be honest, I would never ever fly some of the restorations that they've done like I fly my airplane.
Yeah, you got to be precious with it a little bit. We put all that effort in. Absolutely.
Exactly. Now I've got 450 hours mostly in my airplane, and I've flown over 184 people, and I have just cycled people through there, and it is a workhorse. It's been wonderful.
Low and to your right. Here comes the air cam.
Here comes Keith and his air cam.
Holding it off. He's good. A little bit of a float, though. He pays for that little bit of a goose there.
He does. He gave it just a little bit of a goose to get it off the deck.
Speaking of paying for things,
let's pay some bills.
If you guys want to help support the Husky National Stole Series, you can get some merchandise. We got merch. Hats, T-shirts, things like that. They're all available. You can go online, nationalstole.com, get yourself a National Stole shirt. I've got one. They're super comfortable. I'm not just saying that. Like, they're very soft, very nice. And the other thing to say is if you guys are here with us today in person, we want you definitely to make sure to tag us, Instagram, all that jazz. National Stole, tag us. We want to see your photos. We'll retweet you. We'll repost you. Beautiful landing there.
Look at that. And you saw how his landing gear was down, and then you could see the weight of the aircraft come in and spread that landing gear out. That was absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Can't beat it. And now he's going to have to get out and turn around.
Have to get out and turn around, yep.
Actually,
I was just going to say, we're almost wrapping up today. Beautiful landing. Almost wrapping up, I think.
And you saw how
we should talk about tomorrow.
We should.
So tomorrow, finals, same Louisiana place, same Louisiana time.
That's right.
Same swamp time.
Same swamp place, same swamp channel. Come on and tune in tomorrow, and that'll be the finals. Now, some of these pilots who are taking it kind of easy today, tomorrow it's everything you've got. It's all or nothing.
Literally.
Literally. And so that's when we're really going to see those tail wheels drag in first. That's where we're going to get to see those Acme Aero suspensions just flex out. And that's when we're going to see these planes really bounce around on this grass.
So that's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow.
That's tomorrow here in Jennings, Louisiana. And then in the future, we've got more competitions, which you can go to nationalstole.com to get dates and specifics, but most notably going to be in Brainerd, Minnesota.
That's right.
Right at the weekend after Oshkosh. So if you're up for Oshkosh, just hang around an extra week and come compete in Brainerd at Sodbusters.
That's right. I'm definitely going to Sodbusters, and I'll be there. And so now I've got 471. That's a score I got to beat.
471.
471.
That's my new score to beat, too.
I'm telling you, you need to do that. Here it goes. All right.
You can see why those are so popular. Also, like, out in the breeze. What's kind of cool about these two aircraft that we're seeing right now, you're really in it. It's like being in a motorcycle in the sky. I've not flown in either of these, but the closest I've done is like a J3 Cub with the door wide open. And it's just a flying style that you can't get anywhere else.
That's right. I flew back from Jennings to Baton Rouge in a Super Cub with the door open. Here he goes, Mr. Jeff Womack. He's doing all of that, ladies and gentlemen, with 39 horsepower. He's getting all that done with 39 horsepower.
So cool.
That's awesome.
They said, I just caught you on video doing a video. How could you not videotape that thing? It's so cool. That's really fun.
That is awesome. So, yeah, we've got a lot going on tomorrow and even tomorrow afternoon. Now, this evening, we've got the Bernie Allen Band. We're going to have live music.
That's a thing we should talk about.
And we're also going to have jambalaya. Is going to be here. We're going to cook some jambalaya. We're all going to have a nice meal. And we have our vendors right here. You can get, you know what, I'm going to go get you some gator on a stick. Ryan,
really?
You need to get some gator on a stick.
It's been a long time since I've had gator on a stick.
You got to have gator on a stick. You can't be at anything if you don't have gator on a stick.
You know what else we have in Wisconsin?
What's that?
Is just deep fried butter on a stick.
How does that work?
You die after you eat it.
Oh, you just eat it and then that's
you
it.
Just die. Yeah, it's over.
Okay, got it. Got it. But yeah, we'll have live music here tonight starting at 6 p.m., $5 at the gate. And then we'll have tomorrow, it'll be $5 at the gate, or you can just walk in with your 2-day pass that you got for $8 today. And then we'll have the finals. And then immediately after the competition, rocking the runway in Sunset, Louisiana.
That's
it's
amazing.
an all aviation weekend in
Boom.
Louisiana.
Can't get any better than that. Here's the air cam for its final attempt. Oh,
he's
it's a scratch. But playing it a little bit harder that time. You can see he was coming a little bit lower than he had been before.
That's right. I bet you he caught a breeze the first time he came in and went long, and then he said, okay, well, I'm going to make sure all that energy's out this next time.
Here comes that Aranca.
He is catching a crosswind. He is definitely catching a crosswind in that Aranca.
Aranca?
Aranca C3.
Aranca.
1934. Aranca C3.
1934.
1934. All original.
That's some old wood in there.
It is as it was when it was built in 1934.
Here we go. He's low. Bringing it in.
Oh, a little bit high. I think he's going to go around.
Looks like he's doing a go around.
The leaning out the door is killing me. I love it.
It's really great.
The leaning out the door. He's like leaning out the door of it's like a Harley with no helmet on. He's just got the wind in his face. It's just the essence of flying.
No, and one of the other things that happens in a plane that's, and I don't mean this in a derogative way, that's slow. Like when my time in J3 Cubs, you're only cruising maybe 70 miles an hour at full bore.
Exactly.
And what's really fun about that is you have a lot more time to see things, to look around. I always felt really safe in the J3.
Sure.
Nothing's happening particularly fast.
That's right.
And you just get literally like flying low over a field. You can smell the corn.
And you get the
also
enjoyment.
Smell the manure.
You get the enjoyment of flight.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's about.
Also, when you fly a slow airplane, you can come around pretty quick because you can turn pretty tight. Here he comes.
Here he comes. He doesn't need that whole pattern.
A little bit of a skid there, getting it brought around.
He doesn't
in that
need
crosswind.
He doesn't need that whole pattern. He's just going to use a little bit of it. The runway's closed anyway. It's all us. It's just us. Oh no! Don't scratch. Nope.
He made it.
Absolutely. Look how
beautifully
set that thing down. Outstanding. Outstanding.
So just got off the mic there with the man in the booth. I got some scores for this exhibition class. Really exciting to see. The air cam coming in at 289.
I know, right?
Not anything.
That's incredible.
And here, the Aranca.
308.
Does that frustrate you?
Let's see. I got beat by a guy in a 1934
in a
bathtub 2-cylinder with 39 horsepower. Yes, absolutely. It makes me want to get leading edge slats and maybe put a leading edge on my wing, and then maybe I'll do like Jeff Pohl over there and I'll get a 180 horsepower motor. And and then of course I got to get the kit to put the big tires on.
Yeah, you got a lot of work to do.
I got a lot of work to do.
The other thing I want to just mention, folks, the light sport experimental class, we do have scores. There's a technical glitch between our scoring system. We have it on paper out on the field, so those will be posted online later today. So you want to see what those numbers were. Everyone's waiting. They want to know what those were. But obviously, what you really got to do is just come back tomorrow and see how it all nets out.
Come back tomorrow and see what happens in the finals.
See how it all nets out, folks. It's going to be great here tomorrow at Jennings. Hoping for great weather. Maybe some competitors are probably hoping for more wind. They want to land even shorter with a little extra help from Mother Nature. But, man, this has been a fun Friday.
It was.
I've had a great time here. I've really enjoyed all the gifts that Jennings has to offer. This beautiful day. Couldn't ask for a more beautiful day of flying.
It's outstanding. Just
beautiful turf runway.
We were blessed with this weather. We had a lot of rain. the week before this competition started, and the rain stopped 3 days before everybody arrived, and it's going to stay dry until everybody leaves.
I love it.
So blessed with this weather.
Absolutely. So anyway, thank you to everyone who's watching today remotely, everyone who's watching today in the crowd. And again, just to remind you, my name's Ryan Dabrowski. You can learn more about me online. Go to YouTube, type in Super Arrow, arrow like the aeroplane.
That's right.
Check out, I've done a lot of interviews. I've interviewed Doug, the guy who was one of the founders of National STOL. Got a bunch of amazing pilots on there. You could watch those tonight as you wait with aviation hunger for tomorrow.
And
he had to stop and look at a helicopter.
Sorry, I thought it might be one of my buddies in the Army. And I'm Matthew Peterson, the event organizer for Swamp Stol. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, especially thank everybody for coming out. Make sure you visit our vendors. We have T-shirts and swag for sale, of course, right up there at the gate. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Stay safe, and come on out and watch some more STOL flying tomorrow. Yeah, you're good.
My name is Todd Christensen, and I'm originally from Idaho. I've spent about the last 15 years up in Alaska. I've been flying since I was a kid. As a young kid, I remember being out in the fields and watching the crop dusters fly over, and I knew that at some point I was going to fly. I really never looked back. And of course, living in Alaska, had the opportunity to just take an airplane so many amazing and cool places. As of recently, the last year or so, I've been working with Aviate. Most of my bush flying has been done in lightweight Super Cubs and experimental Cubs. Just started flying the Husky. I've actually really fallen in love with it. Quite an amazing airplane. My goal personally is to show that the Husky can compete against any of the other bush planes out there. And so we had the opportunity to go down and go to the Lone Star competition. We got there hoping for good warm weather, and it was terrible weather. Lots of rain and low clouds, but we spent a couple days. First day we just practiced, and really actually some of the funnest flying. Really hard rain, but didn't stop us a bit. We had a great time flying, practicing in the rain. And then the next day was just as bad, and that was the competition. The Husky performed flawless, really did. So as we watched some of this video from the Texas STOL competition and all these awesome looking Huskies flying, there's a couple things I'd just like to visit about. The first being airspeed. Of course, it's no secret to anybody how important that is in really all aspects of our flying. But one of the things we talk about all the time is landing short. And without flying that airplane as close to stall speed as possible, we're never going to get the most out of it. Oftentimes we see so many folks come in and they're landing that airplane way faster than they need to. They're going 10, 15, 20 miles an hour faster. Causes bouncing, causes all kinds of braking issues. And we come in on our final, slow it down to the slowest possible flight speed that we can do, airspeed that we can fly, and touch ground at that speed. Our rollouts are going to be short. And the Husky does it so very well. I love it because of it. It's very forgiving, it's very docile, and it's very easy to fly. One of the second things that is incredibly nice with the Husky is very different than a lot of these other light airplanes. If you fly a Carbon Cub or Experimental Cub, tail comes off really quickly when you go to take off. Well, part of that is because it's a little bit lighter. The other part is gear placement. And the Husky is designed with that gear a little farther forward, which gives us a little longer fulcrum, a little longer arm, and a little more weight in the tail. And at first when you take off, you think, oh, that didn't come up as quick. However, there's always a flip side. And the flip side for the Husky is when you land. You're able to land and you are able to get on those brakes. You know, when you fly a super light Cub, whether it's Experimental or Carbon Cub, that tail comes up and you're really balancing carefully on that to keep it from going on the nose. And the Husky is so forgiving that way. You can absolutely stand on those brakes and you can stop quick. For me, I just love it. Translates into getting to better fishing holes, getting to better ski hills, getting to better ridge tops, and it's really the reason why I fly, so that I can go just the coolest places that you would never dream of taking an airplane. I watch these Huskies go up against the Cubs, and so often people don't really think a Husky can do that, but they can. On the short field arena, they can. Once you get them in the air, and if you want to travel, and they'll beat the Cub hands down in creature comforts and just being a really highly finished airplane that's beautiful, but it's also fast and it's really rugged. It's a super strong airplane, and so what a pleasure to fly that Husky at the Lone Star competition.